are live, and boy, did I forget which day it was. So it is Sunday, and that means it should have been a art learning stream today. Learn how to draw how stream, as I call it, where we follow George Bridgman's book page by page in order to get better at drawing. But I simply forgot which day it was at all. So instead of doing that a couple of hours late, which would have been no fun, and I need to turn off the sound on my phone so we don't get interrupted. Yeah, so instead of doing a late art stream, I thought I'd do a little Q&A and try to answer questions from you guys. Like your beard, thank you. Hello, everyone. And basically, what I have to say first, so for those who see the stream afterwards, I'm preparing for the Inferno Festival, and I'm behind on everything of my work. So the streams will have to wait until after Easter and after I'm home from Inferno. The same goes for Patreon updates and member updates. I just taken too much work on. That's that's the sickness, I guess. How are you? I am tired and stressed. That's how I am. Your beard looks like an upside down heart. Nice. Hope everyone is having a good day. I am having a good day. It's just a stressful period because I've taken on too much. I was so happy on Draw What. Thank you. Because you got the Loch Ness Monster. Yes, I remember. My favorite YouTuber. Aren't you always tired and stressed? Most of the time, yeah, most of the time. That is correct. I have created a tiresome and stressful life for myself. So yeah, what time is it there? What time is it? I don't know. It's almost 9. Hey, bro, how are you? How are you? Loved my Loch Ness Monster. Excellent. Is it okay if I watch your videos even though I disagree with some of your beliefs? I'm always nervous to watch people that have really different opinions. So, to be quite honest, I don't even agree with all my opinions. I think that one of the reasons why we speak and why we put videos and art and other communications out there is to see if our thoughts ring true. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. I don't require or expect or even hope that my audience agrees with everything I say, because that would be stupid, because I probably say some stupid shit once in a while, so I need you guys to help me identify the stupid shit I say. Sometimes it'll work, other times I'll be too stupid to understand it. Lego! Time to start making questions. Make some questions. What do you do when you're stressed and tired, like to feel better? The best thing for me would be to go out running. Mountain running works. Apart from that, weightlifting works. And apart from that, if I'm just going to relax, I like gaming. That's my preferred mode of relaxation. Don't say naughty words. When did you and what drove you to paint your nails? I probably started painting my nails when I was like 16 years old as a part of, toying around with gender expression and identity and all that stuff. And then because of my bipolar depressions, I took a deliberate stand to stop worrying about my looks, stop obsessing about that part. And then I became this long-haired, bearded old man. But after, I think, like 15 years of not painting my nails, I started to do it again because it feels good. Your art has definitely inspired me. What is a good tactic for improvement? That sort of depends. Do I always go for black nails? Okay, now these nails aren't, I need to apply new, but no, there's no black here. Improvement. Yeah, the most important thing is to draw a lot and to have fun. And I think it's a cycle of three things you need to do. You need to have fun and play, and then you need to through play, find things to study, and through study, find things to execute. And you can mix those three in all different directions, but those three is play, study, and execution. That's all it is. Without beard, you are incomplete. My wife thinks so. I love your art, your channel, everything. You're one of my favorite artists and creators. Thank you. What's your favorite black band? And your favorite death metal band? My favorite band quit last week. Sticky Sweden. Never heard of them. A black metal band, my favorite right now, it is Witch Club Satan. I'm totally obsessed with the new Witch Club Satan album. Otherwise, a little bit older, I think, bands like Rotten Christ, Swedish Shining, Urfaust, more black metal adjacent things like Enslaved, Vemod is good, Talk is great. Yeah, loads of bands. I recently gotten into more of Ishan stuff. Very cool, very good. Okay, when's the next play date with Scott? The first Saturday of next month. What are you going to draw at it? I have no plans. Did Tim Burton change your style a bit? It reminded me of it. Is there an influence of Tim Burton in my art? That's a good question, because A Nightmare Before Christmas was incredibly impactful on me. But I think also at the same time, there came this tsunami of Tim Burton alikes. And I quickly became a little bit sick of that style. But there were a few sort of Burton alikes that definitely influenced me more than Burton himself. And that was Jonan Vasquez with Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. That was incredibly influential on my art style. Hey man, love you and everything you do. I tell all my friends about you because I think you speak up about many things that people are afraid to talk about. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for telling your friends. I mean, that is an awesome way of spreading. The most reliable way I have of spreading my art and spreading my words and making a living of this is that people tell people. Word of mouth is powerful. What do people mostly think about you when they meet you for the first time? I'm not the correct person to ask about that. I have never met myself for the first time. I'd probably think I was a bit of a dick. Favorite web series? Ooh, like web TV series. What do you mean by web series? I've been a fan of your work for a while, and I was wondering what advice you have for young artists out there, such as myself, as to build their own image and getting their creations out there. So, that is a really good question. I'll think a little bit about it while I show some of the paper I use, because that's easier. So here are a couple of the different papers I use. Oh, it's pointed the wrong way. Sorry about that. Fabriano hot press paper, and we got some Fabriano mixed media paper, and most of what I do use is Fabriano student grade drawing paper, 300 grams. And the reason why it's Fabriano is that there are many great brands out there, but my local art store has a lot of good Fabriano papers. So but I need to go back. Ever since we made the short on Imperial Triumphant, I've begun to immerse myself further and further in the New York City underground scene. Pyron, Skullshitter, and Couch Slut have all been amazing. Great names. Haven't heard any of them. I probably need to look into that scene. Yeah. So there was this question about, as a young artist, how do you get your image and art out there? And I can tell you a little bit about some of the mistakes that I see young artists doing. One of them is that now I'm assuming that you're good. You are proficient enough to be professional. You have a style of your own. It might be a style in development, but you have a style, and you have your fundamentals good enough. If not, then that's what you need to work for. You don't need to think about image when you don't have the art down. The art comes first. But the first mistake I see is that a lot of young artists will put themselves in a very small niche, and you often hear this advice that you should niche down. So they make an Instagram account called Fussy Bear Lady Artist. I draw fussy bear ladies, because why wouldn't you? And when you sort of limit your niche in the name, in the presentation, in everything, when you define yourself like that, metal artist supreme, whatever, then you don't have the room to improvise. Now, I have a supremely stupid social media name. I'm called Den Unge Herr Holm, which means the young Mr. Holm, which is, I'm not young anymore, and no one understands Norwegian, so it's a really stupid name to have. But it does allow for flexibility, and I didn't know that ink monsters would be my biggest claim to fame right now. And I'm very happy that I didn't name my YouTube and my Instagram Ink Monster Guy, because that would have been limiting. So first of all, don't limit yourself. And then second, experiment, have fun, and find ways of being yourself. On social media, artists have a huge advantage because our art is an extension of ourselves, and if people are interested in our art, a lot of them are also in some way interested in us. So instead of trying to find an image or we all build our artist mythology, but instead of trying to push that forward, you find ways of showing yourself. And for me, talking to a camera works, and writing stories and telling mythology, and that works for me. But for other artists, it can be completely different. Find ways of showing yourself. Narrowing down your image is only really good to get yourself in the market for art, which says a lot about capitalism. But that's what it is. You won't be able to branch out. Yeah, and I think a better thing, and it would have been wise to say to me as well when I was young, would be just to name yourself your art name, and then be flexible with the niche. And you can niche down without having that define your identity, I think. Jimmer Jammer Crates, that's why I chose my name. I knew I'd be able to create a ton of things. Have you heard of Jack Stauber? No. Have you heard of Tally Hall? What's your favorite song? I haven't heard of Tally Hall. Are you planning for more collabs with different painters? That would be very... Yeah, I would love to. I have no current plans, but at the Inferno Festival, I will be collaborating with artist and musician Costin Chernow, and we will be doing a performance of 4 Lovecraft stories, which will be awesome. And I'm practicing so much for that right now. Any particular song you've been listening to a lot lately? Yeah, lately, yes. So I've been listening to so much of Witch Club Satan's debut album. I absolutely love it. The 2 songs, there are many good songs. I mean, Hex is fantastic. Salvation is fantastic. Fresh Blood, Fresh Pussy is great. But the 2 songs that have been going in my head the most is I Was Made by Fire and Mother, and especially Mother. It's I think Mother by Witch Club Satan is absolutely astounding. In addition to that, I've been listening to The New Priest, and Priest is my all-time favorite. I'm a Judas Priest fanboy. I'm not a fanboy about any other band the same way that I love Priest. And it's been kind of telling that I like the New Priest record, but I've been rather wanting to listen to Witch Club Satan again. So that tells you something about the headspace I'm at. But the New Priest album is great, and there are a couple of songs that have been stuck on my mind, and one of them is with God, with God as my witness. God is my witness. With God is my witness. What is it called? With God is. Yeah, God is my witness, I think it's called. Something like that. And which is a banger. And then Escape from Reality. So far. Thank you for your advice. I originally found your channel for my love of all things mythology, and your art has been really inspiring. Thank you. Can you talk about time you are children? What? I didn't understand that. I must say, your recent Fuck Off series was amazing. Radical inclusivity doesn't make sense to the bigots, but it hit me right in the cockles of my heart. Yeah, so the point that a lot of bigots do not understand about respecting everyone, and I want to make a video about this as well, but when people ask, yeah, but do you respect fascists? Then the answer is, yeah, so far as I can. I do, but the problem is if they are serious about their ideology says people like me, for my political beliefs, for my sexuality, for a bunch of things, should be put against the wall and shot. And believing that about another person is a huge sign of disrespect. That is like spitting in the face of someone. Same goes with fundamentalist Christians. I have no, or Muslims or whatever, I have no problems with religious people, but if you feel that I deserve to burn eternally in hell for not accepting your God, then that is actually spitting in the face of the one you're talking to. It is so incredibly disrespectful. And when you're met with that level of disrespect, you're allowed to use self-defense and disrespect them back. You can 100% disagree without being disrespectful. Yes, you can. And I meet so many weird and wonderful people with extremely different beliefs than mine, and they're all fantastic. But at some point, and this happens mostly on the right side and the conservative side of politics, but also on the left side of politics, when your ideology or opinions by default dehumanizes and spits on others, you don't deserve respect. You, by acting disrespectfully, you have thrown away your claim to respect. I always wonder if they mean the hell in Norway or Michigan, because I need to know if I need to get my passport. Yeah. I love the terminal at the train station in Hell, Norway, because in Norway the Norwegian word for freight, as in a freight train, is goods. So on the terminal in Hell, the little town of Hell, it says Hell, God's terminal. I think that is fantastic. Respect until you affect others. Yes. That is, you affect others to a degree. We all affect others, but until you demand the punishment or making life worse for others to satisfy your ego or ideology. I mean, you know, it's always a sort of a loose, it's not easy to put strict boundaries on this. For instance, working as an artist, just working at all, you meet a lot of people who believe truly in capitalism. And I think that capitalism, and specifically the idea of private ownership, private property, as opposed to personal property, is actively harming others. But I don't put a line in the sand and say, no, I will not talk to you because you are a capitalist bad man. No, because that doesn't make sense to me. Has Jesus responded? Yes. Jesus has a respond older and strangely white. Who would have thunk? Have you visited Gal's Gallery? I have a lot of art in Gal's Gallery, Galleri Fjalar in Bergen. Gal has basically a ton of my work permanently in his gallery. So I visit them. I visit him all the time. That's the first time I've heard the difference between private and personal property. Yeah, so private and personal property are like this. Like the personal property is, I own this thing and I own this thing, and I let me see if I should find something I've drawn. Oh, yeah. I made this thing, so I own it. I own, the personal things I own. Okay, so those are mine, and they can have become mine through various means, and that is personal property. Private property is specifically the right to own land that other people farm, the right to own factories that other people work in, and the right to own homes, houses that other people live in. That is private property. The private property rights of capitalism is the right to own and own the things that others use, and through that ownership dominate them. It is the right to be a lord, in a sense. And that makes sense because the private property of capitalism is a direct descendant of the divine rights of kings that were just distributed to the property owning class, so that we got a lot of small kings, and then now we get great emperors like Elon Musk and all of them, I remember none of their names now. Cheers from Lebanon. 7 people. I didn't understand that. Who's the craziest metal band you've seen? Crazy in terms of live performance. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, bands like Watain are intense on stage. Um, Shining Sweden are intense on stage, uncomfortable, in a great way. I need to think about that a little bit. You're the dragon dude. How tall are you? 187. After that, do you understand anything about anarcho-syndicalism? I'm not huge on anarchist theory. I've read very little political theory at all. I just skimmed a bit here and there and read some back in the day. I don't really. I call myself anarchist and socialist. I don't really like to specify much more than that because I don't have any firm grasp of why anarcho-syndicalism should work better than anarcho-communism or anarcho-privativism or anarcho-individualism or any of those. I think that we also get really surprised to see what works. I mean, what has been done, for instance, in Rojava over the last decade is amazing, and it doesn't specifically look like any of the anarchist theories. So, do you think anarchy uniquer than socialism? I think anarchism is a form of socialism, but I'm not really. There's a lot of when I talk about politics in my videos, there's a lot of screaming matches like, no, socialism is this, and communism is that, and this is that, and this is this. And I think these categories are useful when they're broad and vague. Now, I don't really care how you define, for instance, capitalism, because I'm against the current system we're living under, and whether you call it capitalism or something else doesn't matter to me. And if I was living under Soviet under the Soviet state, I would be against that. That doesn't mean I'm against everyone who calls themselves communists, but I'm not that huge on categorizing or locking in the categories. Do you ever go to meetups, possibly at Carl's Gallery? I haven't done a meetup yet, but I'm planning on doing something there soon. Favorite vocalist in metal, Rob Halford, without a doubt. Rob Halford. Peter Steele was great, fantastic voice. I like so many more. LG from Entombed was fantastic. My mind is, I'm tired, yeah. Did you want to talk about politics today, or has it just been catching your eye in the chat? Just catching my eye in the chat. I'm going to name random artists that you have probably never heard of. Lemon Demon, Tally Hall, Jack Stauber, Rare Americans, The Living Tombstone, Necrotalkie, and Mother Mother. Never heard of any of them. Would you agree that political parties are the bane of democracy? I don't know what that means. Good day, love your content. Do you have a favorite snack? I love, these days, I love snack, but these days I love Bear Bell protein bars. Are you religious? Yes, no, no, yes, no. Not agnostic. I'm atheistic and somewhat religious. What made you begin to do art in general? I think you should go to the Dark Art podcast, the Dark Art Society podcast on YouTube, Dark Art Society podcast, and I'm the guest last week, and we talk a little bit about that. Do you believe in God? Now I'm going to go all Jordan Peterson on you and say, that depends on what you mean by God and believe and in and you and do. Do I believe in the God of the Bible? Absolutely not. I mean, you can clearly see by reading the Bible, by reading archaeology, you can see how that was invented. It's a human invented thing. It is a story. And do I believe the stories have power? Yes, I absolutely do. Do I believe that we live in a fully materialistic universe? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe that in spite of this, we live in a universe that we interpret as sentient? Yes, I do. And I don't think we can do anything but interpret the universe as sentient and act as if the universe is sentient. And if that's what you mean by God, then sure, God, Satan, whatever. How do I differentiate myself as an artist? You do what you think is fun, what you think is interesting. And when you get better at doing what you think is interesting, you will also get better at accepting your flaws. And that combination of your interests and your flaws is what people call your uniqueness. Are you a classical hero? Blah, blah, blah. That guy has intentionally misinterpreted some messages to be shell. I think I know who you're talking about. Have you played any of the Zelda games? I've played most of them. I absolutely love Zelda. Thoughts on Anton LaVey? Don't like him. The Satanic Bible is a fun book, but it's not interesting. Ever read Kurt Vonnegut? Yeah, I read Slaughterhouse 5 and I loved it. Ever tried sculpting? A little bit. Jordan Peterson warps the hero myths. Yes, absolutely. But I mean, credit where credit is due. One of the things I think Peterson is intellectually dishonest. He is politically toxic and even dangerous. But I also think that he has a great mind for interpreting stories. It goes a little bit askew when he starts trying to claim that there's some factual underpinning to how he interprets the stories. Then it goes astray. But that is the same as with Jung and as with Joseph Campbell. And I mean, there is a good reason why Joseph Campbell is so incredibly influential in Hollywood and in storytelling. And that is because he interpreted stories in a really good way. The mistake he did was saying that this was somehow proof that all of these were a monomyth that he had figured out, and it basically justified why white men wrote all the good literature and Jews were bad, and that's base, and women were bad. And when you go take these stories and say, "Ooh, I can interpret them very well, and it is true, I base myself on fact," and it says that women and Jews are bad. That doesn't make sense. Could you defeat two monkeys in hand-to-hand combat? Monkeys. I could defeat two monkeys. Apes? No, no, no. Monkeys, yes. Is it Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster? I colloquially will call it Frankenstein, even though I'm talking about Frankenstein's monster. How would you say aspects of your life experiences has shaped your art? Um, and you as an artist, I mean, let's take that question another way. Art is communication. That's basically all it is. It is trying to communicate things in a way that mere words alone can't do. Even if you're using just words for your art, if you're a poet or a writer, the art part is how to use them to communicate something more than just the words. So what you're asking is, how has your life experiences influenced the words coming out of your mouth? I mean, in every way. That's the simple answer. In any way. Nice nails. Also, what is Satanism? I have my own ideas of Satanism and why I choose to call myself Satanist. One of the reasons is that I have been called Satanist for expressing my views. So I like to just take that and use it. Another is that I think that what religion tends to do is to say that this is how the world is. Don't think too much about it. This is how the hierarchy is. Don't question it. And the argument for religion is that if you don't have religion, then you will slide into nihilism. And by nihilism, they mean that if you don't have religion, then you will realize that life is meaningless and pointless, and that there is no objective reason why you shouldn't kill or should kill, or there's no objective reason of any of that. For me, Satanism is, in a sense, accepting that, yeah, in some sort of fundamental sense, there is no reason, there is no meaning, at least not universal, or at least not comprehensible, and then starting to build meaning on top of that. So it is, for me, it is accepting the fundamental atheism, the fundamental nihilism of the world, and trying to conscientiously build meaning. Even build religion, but I don't like the idea of a religion because I don't think these meanings should be enforced onto others. But yeah, that's basically what I mean by Satanism, and it has a lot of other aspects. It has the aspects of Satan as a rebellious mythological figure. It has the aspect of Satan as creating in defiance. It is in some sense, it is like the mythological Satan figure. It is saying that this world God created is a bit fucked, and defiantly trying to unfuck it. So Satanism is creating your own meaning out of the meaningless of it all. Got it. I mean, for me, I can't speak for anyone else. When I was agnostic at one time, I wanted to believe, but when we look at the context of religion and history, it really warped my sense of the word. You seem really tired, man. I am really tired. Can you tell us about the transition from copying other artists' work to making original art that you enjoy? I mean, then if you aren't able to create something meaningful, maybe what you need isn't to practice your art skills, but actually to live life. Are you interested in vexillology, the study of flags? Never heard of it. I'm never interested in flags, but it's fascinating if someone could teach me about vexillology. What is your favorite fruit to have? This pear that I have in my hand right now. It's refreshing to see you actually put a lot of thought into your response instead of just saying things like in your shorts. It humanizes you quite a bit. Yeah, the shorts are carefully written and read. I read the text to the shorts. So that's not how I talk or how I think, even, but I'm trying to reflect how I talk and how I think in them. And I'm trying to write them truthfully, but uh, I think one of the interesting things about having this internet fame is that I get introduced by you guys to a lot of thoughts and ideas that I wouldn't have otherwise. So you guys challenge my views, sometimes by disagreeing with me, sometimes by agreeing in ways I don't like. And when I do a live like this, it is much more about um, it's more about actually trying to engage instead of just and trying to learn. I mean, so I'm trying to make my answers better and more truthful every time. I think yeah. I think I might have seen you jogging in Sandviken a while back. Yeah, I usually jog in Åsarna around Salhus, but I have jogged through Sandviken a couple of times. Yes, so you might have seen me. And you can stop me, even if I'm jogging. You can stop me and say hi. That is, I haven't yet had any unpleasant interactions with people who know me from online, so it's all wonderful. I'm not the biggest fan of discussions about religion or politics because of some past experiences, but you make it logical and thought provoking. So I thank you. Thank you. Okay, so vexillology is pretty much the study of flags, like knowing symbolism, colors, and history. On Reddit, there is a subreddit under the same name, and it has a community of people about finding flags. And I would absolutely love to sit down with someone who is passionate about flags and to try to understand and to feed off their passion, because it is nothing is greater than listening to geeks geek out over the things they geek out about. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, there was you, my friend, are not an aestheticist, but an artist for sure. But Crispin Glover's work is disturbing in the most provocative ways. Crispin Glover, the actor. I. Mm, Crispin Glover did a great role in Dead Man. Small role, but great. One of my favorite movies. Why free art? Why do it? I did that with mine, but the catch is none want my art even if it's free. Yeah, so free art isn't about getting paid or not. I get paid for my art. I like to get paid. I like having money. It's better than not having money. I wish I would have more money. You can send super chats. And that would be appreciated. Members would be appreciated. But the point is, free art isn't about that. Free art is about what art is. And as we already discussed here, for me, art is communication, art is speech. So when I say free art, I mean it in the same way as free speech. And if you have said something, you don't have the legal right to stop others from saying the same thing, because that's weird. And copyright is really weird, and it does kind of do some awful things with how we think about art, with how we think about communication, with the work conditions artists work under. And how do you transform something inspiring into art? I don't know. I mean, if I see something inspiring, then the question for me is, how do I not transform it into art? Because, or how do I find the time to transform it into art? My instinct is always, how can I make this into art? I want to create a comic, and I need an artist that be willing to communicate and create a story together. Any advice? My advice to people who want to write a comic with an artist is, number one, learn to draw. You don't necessarily have to become good enough to be the artist, but you need to learn to draw. I think comic book artists or comic book writers who can draw are generally better. The second, if you are serious about getting artists to draw your stories, then pay them for it. The artist will be doing perhaps 10 times as much work as you on your ideas. You need to pay them for that. My friend Torun Grönbeck, who works for Marvel and has all of that, he has worked for all the big ones and does great writing. She broke into comics by saving up money and paying artists to to do her self-published comic. Even though she is a good artist in her own right, she knew that she couldn't write or draw in that tempo that she needed for the comics, so she paid. And that's what you don't ask artists to draw your story, because they will use 10 times as much time as you'd use to write it. Okay? I can paint better than you and sculpt. Cool. Excellent. Good luck with your painting and sculpting, and hope you get great success. If it's free speech, why copyright? It ain't all bad. Think about it. With all its vices, copyright does some good for people. Like what? I've tried to draw and now I stopped because I want to rock on electric guitar. Excellent. Okay, I think it's time to it's time to end this. I'm looking for any final follow-ups to some of the things I said. Say I'm a poor artist and some $1 million company steals my art in a world without copyright. Say you are a poor artist and some $1 million company steals your art in a world with copyright. How do you fight them? How many successful cases have there been of a small artist suing a giant corporation for copyright? It's my only chance to survive. Also, so actually, most artists don't rely all that much on copyright. So if you're an independent artist, you rely on commissions, creating original works, selling original works, doing custom works, doing classes, courses, and all manners of things that none of them have anything to do with copyright. A few manage to create a property that will sustain them, like Bill Watterson is the perfect example of someone who built his own copyright property and managed it very well, and also used his copyright to protect Calvin and Hobbes from being over commercialized, which is one of the reasons why Calvin and Hobbes it's still respected, but it sort of is fading away because he didn't allow corporations to exploit it. The main reason why we have copyright, or how it functions in society today, is that it allows companies to own a copyright and hire artists to infuse their creativity into the property, so the property becomes worth more and the artists don't necessarily become worth more. I'm new to art as career. Thank you I still don't agree with all, but I still try. You do make compelling argument. Yeah, I want to say something very important. If you are an artist and you have the choice to keep your own copyrights, then that is always better than to sell your copyrights to a corporation. But for instance, like with Bill Watterson, who probably earned a fortune, he could probably have earned an even bigger fortune by selling his copyrights at the right time. But he did the right thing and kept Calvin and Hobbes his, and also kept it from being overexploited. But yeah, if you are unsure, if you yeah, if you are unsure of what to do with your art, always keep your copyrights if you can. Okay, I think that was the last word for today. If you like my art and you have the opportunity to support, I release all my art for free use, so you can copy it, you can download it, you can print it, you can even sell it. There's some good questions here, but I don't have more energies. So yeah, you can support me by spreading my art. If you have the money, you can also support me by becoming a YouTube member, by buying originals on denungeherrholm.com, or by super chats, and by Patreon, and by buying prints and all of that stuff. Thank you so much. It was really fun to talk with you. I'll talk with you all again after Easter and after the Inferno Festival, and hopefully I'll see some of you at the Inferno Festival, where I'll be doing way too much every day, so I'll be even more exhausted than now. Bye-bye.